Hello, my name is Emma. Welcome to this short instructional video on the use of energy flows in the Smappee app. Prominently present in the main screen of the Smappee app are the tiles of the energy flows. These show your energy sources and consumption. But what do they really want to say, and what can you learn from it? Let's start with a general introduction. The combination of all the tiles are grouped into two distinct sections. The upper section represents your energy sources. In other words, where is the energy coming from that feeds your electrical appliances? The lower section represents your energy consumers. In other words, which appliances are consuming the sourced energy. A tile is only visible when it is needed. An example might be the import from grid tile. When all energy is sourced from your own solar panels, the grid tile isn't visible. The moment there is a mix of solar energy and import from the grid, both tiles are displayed. The units shown in the tiles automatically adjust as needed. For the live view, this can go from watt to kilowatt and even megawatt. The data for other periods is displayed in watt-hours, kilowatt-hour or megawatt-hour. Finally, the more important the source or consumer, the bigger the tile becomes within the section. Let's first go over our energy sources. Important remark is that a source needs to be measured by infinity in order for it to be displayed. If you have solar panels that are not measured, you won't get a solar tile. In this section, there are three possible sources. The energy need of the household can be fulfilled by import energy from the grid, own solar production or energy coming from a battery. Remember that a tile is only present when that source is being used. In the example, you don't see a battery tile, which means that all energy comes from the grid and solar production. What if you see the sun shining? You know the solar inverter is measured, but still you don't see a solar tile. Well, this might indicate that the measured solar production is zero or negative. Best advice is to contact your installer so this can be checked by a professional. The same goes for your energy consumer. For the consumer to be displayed in this section, it needs to be measured by infinity. The only two exceptions are the household and always-on consumption. Smappee has defined always-on or standby consumption as the lowest measured consumption in the last 48 hours. So, if you see a live always-on value of 86 watts, then your consumption has never gone below 86 watts in the past 48 hours. The household represents the sum of all consumers that are not measured by a specific load. The loads that are visualized separately are your charging station, your heat pump, energy going to a battery or energy exported to the grid. Keep in mind that a consumer always has a positive value. A consumer with a negative value won't be shown and might indicate an issue with your installation. Contact your installer to have it checked and corrected if necessary. On the home screen, you can choose to see live data or an aggregated view over a certain period. The choice you make is remembered in the Smappee app, and this will be the displayed period when you launch the Smappee app. To change the period you see, simply tap on the current period displayed and choose between today, last 7 days, last 4 weeks, and last 12 months. As you switch from live data to a certain period, you'll notice the units change from watt to watt-hours, or even higher units if needed. Even when the home screen offers a way to get aggregated data over a longer period, it is still possible to get even more details on sources and consumers. Let's start with the sources. Just tap one of the tiles in the Sources section to jump to the energy flow details. The screen is split in two parts. The upper part displays the graph for the selected period, while the lower part shows the totals and cost. Between the two parts, you can choose which sources are visualized. Simply tap on the source to activate or deactivate it. I would like to add a small remark about the solar production. If you compare the values solar with information from your solar inverter, you might be surprised by the difference between them. Reason for the difference is that solar only represents the part of the solar production that was consumed by your household. If you want to know the total solar production, you need to make the sum of the solar and export values. When it comes to selecting a period, you can choose between day, week, month, and year. Also, the periods which are available on the home screen can be selected here. It's possible to travel in time by tapping the greater than and smaller than symbols. The greater than bar symbol brings you back to today or this week, month, or year. A last option is to tap and hold a line or bar on the graph. This way, the actual data for that specific data point is added to the graph. Most of the things that goes for the sources also goes for the consumers. This time, you simply tap one of the consumer's tiles to jump to the energy flow details. The screen is split in two parts. The upper part displays the graph for the selected period, while the lower part shows the totals and cost. Between the two parts, you can choose which consumers are visualized. Simply tap on the consumer to activate or deactivate it. If you want to make full use of the display of your device, you can always tilt your device. This way, the graph changes to a landscape format, which offers you a bigger graph with more details. Also for the consumers, you can choose between day, week, month, and year. Next to the available periods on the home screen, it's possible to travel in time by tapping the greater than and smaller than symbols. The greater than bar symbol brings you back to today or this week, month, or year. A last option is to tap and hold a line or bar on the graph. This way, the actual data for that specific data point is added to the graph. Thank you for your attention during this video. You can now interpret the different energy flows for sources and consumers in your household. The question that remains is how to interpret your consumption and always-on consumption. How is your consumption and always-on consumption compared to similar households? We answer that question in the following video. If you have any further questions, please contact training@smappee.com. See you later.